claims, everything is being inspected and straight. It's like it seems wrong way.
It's called James. I'm host of News News.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, dear brothers, sisters, my fellow citizens of the United States. Welcome to the East-West Show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending wherever you are. However, no matter where you are, you have to pay attention to what's happening now. What is happening now? We have a big cloud hanging, talking about whose life matters, whose life don't matter.
All lives
Okay,
matter.
that's one issue, right? Another issue, which is above the cloud over there, it's a bigger cloud covering a big thing that's going on. That goes back antedates to the time when Brown was here, Governor Brown was here. No, Governor Brown, Jim Brown. If you recall, a bill called SBC-5. If you do not, you will probably remember the name of Ed Hernandez, the creator of the bill, or so on and so forth. At that time, I was engaged so many times in talking about the bill with a bunch of my friends, including Marc, including Betty, everybody not here now. The end of which we concluded, do not feel overjoyed because it's going to come back. Now we're talking about the coming back. Today joining me are so many good friends, and number one, by either lady first rule, or by seniority first rule, or by respect first rule, or by beautiful face first rule. I would start with my friend Betty Tom Chu, a person, a character who I have been chasing after on her tail like a dog ever since Monterey Park time, 20 something years ago.
Wow.
Right? Over the trash issue, over the fire department issue, so on and so forth, left, right, boom, 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 boom. Here and there, all the way. Lady that I have so much respect of. And above all, she is the founder of my bank being East-West Bank. Founder of East-West Bank, attorney, banker, former mayor of Monterey Park, Betty Tom Chu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you again, Jack. It's my pleasure to be here, but I don't have good news. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to call all of your viewers. All of you need to act on this very important
Okay, hold
issue.
on. Don't get excited. Let's finish the introduction. Next to her, and I'll give the introduction to you to make her known, please. I believe that she will be. She's looking so far so good. Yeah, go ahead.
Flattered.
Well, Joy Chen is presently on the board of directors of the Asian Industry Business to Business, which cares so much about promoting the welfare of our particularly small business Asian owners.
Oh, I see.
And she also has been involved as a director with the Chinese American Citizens Alliance of Orange County, which cares about all major issues affecting our Asian community. She has been an activist since her days at UC Berkeley. And at that time, she became involved with an issue of the Senate Bill 185, similar but not as bad as the issues that we are going to talk about today. She works for a software company in sales, but more importantly, ever since her days in college, she has remained devoted to improving the lot of our Asian community, to bring us all to equality, to enjoy the American dream.
All right, Joy Chen. Thank you for being who you are and for doing what you have done so far.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much
keep
for
it
having
up.
me here today.
And next, I would like to introduce my big friend, Marc Ng. Marc Ng is a big friend of mine.
Just his
We
head.
go back not so many years, however, active enough to be on top of my hard to find list of friends. Right. First, I admire his guts. He's one of the bravest guy in fighting for what he believes right. For the past 2 years, he has been with me for so many times. He is the current president or chairman, right? Chairman, or you call it chairman or president?
CEO.
President of the Orange County Citizen Alliance.
Yeah, Chinese American Citizens.
Chinese American Citizen Alliance of Orange County, and the founder and CEO of Asian B2B. All right. So welcome all of you to my show.
Thank you, Jack.
And of course, for their background, I can still go on, but I have only 60 minutes in an hour. All right, so we better start it. She comes here with a heavy grievance, as you can already taste, right? I know as I would say a veteran of a fighter, so for so many years so, she has more to say than anybody else. So what can you tell me today, what have you brought us as the bad news?
The bad news is that the California state legislature, with its supermajority Democratic representatives, is trying to take away our constitutional rights. And this constitutional rights belongs to you, belongs to all of us, but more importantly, it belongs to all of your viewers out there. Mm-hmm. And it belongs to people regardless of their skin color, regardless of what sex they are, regardless of their culture. And this is so important that we have to now stop this immediately by voting no. Vote no on ACA-5.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. What is ACA-5?
So ACA-5 is a bill that was introduced conveniently during the coronavirus pandemic. So everybody was focused on there's a pandemic going on, we got to stay home, stop the curve, all these things. And our legislature...
Recently, I saw lots of television soap operas when I'm home, right?
Right.
And lots of like war movies.
Yeah.
And war movies, they boom, boom. When they're fighting, you know what? The guy kind of sneaking in.
Yes.
Like that kind you're saying?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So that's exactly what happened.
I'm a slow-minded man. I have to see those things.
No, I love it.
understand
I
what's
love the
going on.
metaphor.
All right, go ahead.
And that's exactly what happened. While we were all focused on what's going on globally, on nationally, even just trying to pay the bills in our family, our legislators decided to pass this
What
bill.
exactly does the bill say?
So the bill, what it does and how it's been different from SB 185, from SC5, all these past bills, is that it's trying to repeal Proposition 209 altogether. So Proposition 209 was passed in 1996, and what it sought to do was end racial discrimination in public institutions. And what ACA-5 is trying to do is bring back all of those discriminations again. And it was kind of just, it was slipped in. It was slipped in within 24 hours.
Without labeling, I would rather prefer a way to tell what exactly it calls for. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Can Mark say something about it?
Yeah, so to answer your question and make it more clear for a general audience.
Yeah.
What's happening is, this debate has gone on forever about affirmative action, right? So affirmative action is basically, we need to have certain quotas. So in order to correctly represent the population, let's say we are 1/4 white, black, Hispanic, Asian. Okay, let's say we're in an equal society.
Okay.
So then theoretically there should be quarter of the students should be Asian, quarter of students would be white, quarter students would be black, quarter students would be Hispanic. So in a utopian world, that sounds very fine and dandy. It sounds perfect, right? But what's the reality? Certain groups and certain people actually achieve more, right? Or work harder to get their grades up or to increase their qualifications to get in. So that method of action through affirmative action actually disenfranchises, if you really think about it, it disenfranchises people in certain groups to achieve. That's why Joy said it was discriminatory, because it certainly is very discriminatory if, let's say, a Hispanic kid was to achieve more. Why would he be stuck in a quota?
Now that you mentioned the word discrimination, though, I would say it is the discrimination with the banner of anti-discrimination.
Yes.
Correct.
It is very
Correct?
disingenuous.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, my dear friend, my lovely audiences, we seem to hit the jackpot. The jackpot being that there is a kind of a discrimination under the banner of anti-discrimination. So how? We'll find out when we come back. Let's take a break.
Everything expected. It's like it seems on
My name is Paul James. I'm host of English News.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow, your lovely host. I know I'm lovely, and I know that a lot. Being here, I try every possible moment to bring information to you that is healthy. Remember, there's lots of information. This whole era, the whole time, the whole epoch is called information. However, I'm talking about a positive information, a healthy information, because we're swimming in the information of wrong, unhealthy information in the ocean of it, right? Now we're talking about how we want to find out discrimination versus the discrimination under the flag or banner of anti-discrimination. Betty, can you help me?
Well, proposition.
Oh, by the way, Betty, I should say, I'm sorry, with more respect, former Mayor Betty Ta Chu. Wow, music, something like that, right? So back me up, please.
Well, Proposition 209, as you have denominated it as the anti-discrimination bill, provided protection for all races and for all sexual denominations from 3 major areas. And I break it into 4 major areas. One is higher public education, our colleges and university admissions. And all of us know at least someone, some Asian, who had a classmate with lower grade averages and less ability that got approved to a major California university over that of the Asian who was more qualified. The second major area is in public employment, in the hiring processes. In the old days, there were very few Asians that were employed in the government sector. With Proposition 209, that increased, and Joy will talk about that later. And I add in a third area, and that is in promotion. Even as some of the Asians got into public government work, they were not being promoted on an equal basis on their performance or on their hard work, in contrast to not only the white population, but also other minority populations. So the fourth area, which is the third area under the proposition, is in public contracting. So that when the government gives out a contract based upon competitive bidding, that the Asians should be able to have an equal opportunity along with the black-owned companies and brown-owned companies to be able to compete.
Oh, okay, very
in
good.
getting
Thank you, Betty.
contracts.
Thank you very, Betty. And your analysis, of course, can easily be understood at the leadership level, right? Because you're positioning yourself, looking down. That's what's happening, right?
That's
Now,
incorrect.
another word. Yeah, I know.
And I'll tell you why that's incorrect. I grew up a block away from Skid Row. I had a hard time getting into college and to law school because
know.
of my
Okay,
sex
sure.
and my race.
Understand. And from another perspective, though, I'm going to ask Joy Chen, how do we interpret the fact that we have the one word equality, right? We have another word discrimination, and we have the third word anti-discrimination, right? How do you define the three words?
So
I just ask you in general.
yeah, I mean, for me, when I see you're trying to lump people into their race,
All right.
even within Asians, we're all the three of us. I guess we're all Asian.
Me too.
But we have very different backgrounds.
Uh-huh.
We have very different socioeconomic roots. We have very different education levels, even. But under something like a quota, something affirmative action wants to put us under, you're assuming that all Asians are the same.
Okay, all right.
And that in
All right.
itself, to me, is discriminatory.
Okay, good. I go back to quarter theory. Mark, you just laid upon, right? So suppose we have 4 quarters of black, white, green, orange.
Yes, okay.
Right? These are the colors of the world, right? Black, white, green, orange, right? And then there comes a pie. We're all hungry. We want to eat. So by the theory, by the equality theory, by the non-discriminative theory, Betty, should we cut the pie evenly in 4 quarters?
If you want to do it just based upon racial quotas and by skin color or by culture, you divide that
No,
up into
just the 4 colors.
4 pieces equally.
4 pieces, right?
So-
4 pieces, right?
Right.
4 pieces, right?
So theoretically,
Very correct. Very correct. Very correct.
On
Now,
that basis.
another situation. Let's talk about, say,
can I stop you right there? Can we talk about who made the cake first of all?
all right,
Okay. So if all 4
pizza, call it pizza.
the pizza, okay? So
Making
this
me hungry.
pizza, if all 4 of the colored people, black, white, what is it, green and orange, whatever if
Black,
all-
white, green, orange.
Okay, these 4 people, if they all contributed equally to make the pie or make the pizza pie, then I think that's perfectly fine, right?
All right, stop right there.
Now,
So,
what if only one of them did all the work?
no, stop right there. You're talking about by contribution.
Yes. to
I'm
create
talking
the
about
pie.
from humanity. Betty and I are talking about humanity point of view, because all the black, white, green, orange are human,
Yes.
and they are hungry humans. And all of a sudden, there's a big pizza. From we are hungry the point of view, I kind of tilted to her philosophy to cut the 4 pieces evenly. And you're talking about who contributes more to the pie.
making
Am I
pie,
right?
yeah.
And you?
So I have a little bit of a mix.
Okay, you're a little bit of both?
I'm a little bit of both.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Betty, can you help us?
I believe that it depends upon what the objective is. If the objective is that we feed the hungry, then this analysis of cutting it 4 ways is correct if all 4 are equally
hungry. Yes.
However, if that is not the objective, which is true under different circumstances, then Marc's analysis is correct. In other words, if what it is who is going to make the best pizza that will sell, and one person, the black, makes the best pizza, the second one makes the best marketing of the pizza, and the green and orange don't do anything about the pizza. Should the government come in and say, each one of you have the right to sell that pizza at the same price?
All right. Obviously, you raised it to another level, and you're talking about not only contribution, and you're also talking about the distribution, right? Yeah. Okay, now, let's shift the situation into another scenario. Forget the pizza, forget the 4, forget the black, white, green, orange. Let's say we form an NBA team of 10, all right? And then there are people, all kinds of people. So by forming the team though, do you pick up the best among the 10? Or do you follow the ethnic breakup?
Yeah. So
Right?
I'm a huge basketball fan,
brackets,
so I love this metaphor.
The brackets, right? So
Right.
by using this metaphor, let's form a Laker team.
Yeah.
Let's say LA, right? So what do? You pick up the best? Can you take me?
Well,
I'm Asian. I'm highly educated. I'm smart. I'm so ever. My only problem is that I weigh only 238 pounds. How about that?
well,
We again go back to the issue of the objective.
Right.
The objective is to win,
Right.
to win the game, right? So you want to take me?
absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So do I have the right to protest you?
Yeah, you can.
To
You
go
can-
against you,
can
say, hey,
protest,
hey.
please.
I can
But
go
the
riot.
government does
I can
not
go
have
riot.
the right-
I can loot a shop. I can loot a coffee shop. I can flip out police cars because you are discriminating me. Jack Shaw can be a basketball player. Why don't you take me?
Yeah, and at the
Can you
end,
take me?
No, and that is exactly what our
Okay,
society
will you
is-
take me?
No. Because when
No,
you're a
I'm,
coach,
I'm
you're
not
trying
talking
to win.
about. I'm not talking about boyfriend. I'm talking about basketball player.
No and no.
Laker team. Both no. Oh my God.
We'll
you're
talk about
bad.
it later, Jack. We'll talk
How
about
about
that
say
later.
yes and no?
Jack, you're married.
All right, so, okay, now, I'm kidding, okay? Now, you say no,
Right.
right? Do you take me or not?
I go back to the objective, and what I will look at is, do I need a center? Do I need a guard?
Correct.
Or do I need the guy that can make my 3-pointers?
You need a bookkeeper, probably, right?
Well, we still have to look at your qualifications,
No.
Jack.
Or anyway,
Because-
one thing for
because
sure,
not even-
Betty knows that I can't be on the ground to play.
Yeah.
Because
helpful to
that's
the
right,
team.
with
course I
reference to
can know.
Water boy.
you. With reference
Hydration
to you.
technician.
But
All right.
what I'm
Okay.
trying to say
Let's take a
Jack,
let's
wait,
take
wait.
a let's take a break. Let's take a break. It's a funny point, however, very significant. You wait and see. We'll be back.
We have to continue to work on it now.
My name is Paul James. I host this news every morning.
and the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear friend, my loved audiences. Welcome back to the show. Dear brothers, sisters, I know that it is a hard time because we're hit left and right, head to toe, everywhere, from everywhere. However, it is the moment that we shall have to remain sober-minded, because once you carry that much, you really have to make sure that you're not picking up the wrong one, especially in terms of bills. We're talking about ACA-5. To me, that's another version of the SBC-5 2.5 years ago. No, 3 years ago in the
That's
summer.
Jack, SCA-5.
Senate Constitutional
SCA-5, yeah, SCA-5, all right? SCA-5, the Senate, California amendment of constitutional amendment, something, right? Anyway, now, in order to understand it, we're talking about in different scenarios, you have different policies. Am I right? All right.
Yes.
If we're talking about social benefit, we'd better say, hey, let everybody, including papa, mama, grandpa, grandma, everybody gets it because it's social benefit, right? In terms of playing basketball, forming a team, forming a later team, you want to make sure Jack Zhao is not taken, because Jack Zhao cannot win. I can't even take a ball, honestly, right? However, by right, do I deserve a portion of one of 300 million to be in the team? Mm-hmm. Of course I do. That's but by theory, but by practice, I can't be there, right? And Betty just mentioned one thing, even with the players. Yeah, I'll let you say.
Even with the players,
Yeah.
we again have to go back to the objective, because each player has different skills that they are good at.
Yeah, sure.
In other words, a guard is better on defense
Yeah, you're right.
than
You're right.
the person who is making the baskets. And the person that makes a three-point basket from further away has different skill sets than the person that can run and make the basket.
And by SCA-5, everybody can be in the team. Otherwise, you are performing discrimination.
Correct.
Well,
Am I right?
worse than that, though, with SCA-5, it was not 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. It was whoever is making that determination. I want the green to
Because
be
you're green.
35%.
Yeah, because you're green.
And yes.
Yes.
And and she may want 40% for the orange.
Yeah.
That affects the percentages of the black and the brown. But in reverse, what was happening with affirmative action,
And then there's looting on the street. Next thing you see, because everybody fights for, okay, now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say black, white, orange, green, right? Instead of 25, 25, I want 35, you want 45, you want 55, and you want 65.
Yep.
How many percent in 100? All right, of
Over
course.
100.
Then next thing you see a riot on the street. You see looting on the street.
Yeah.
That exactly explains why we see the havoc now.
Right.
Why there's a melee out there, right? So now back to the discussion. I give you, Mark, another scenario.
Okay.
Right? We're forming our SpaceX team. We're forming a Falcon 9 team. We're working with NASA, right? Do you take body size? You take brains, or you take the percentage of the ethnic background?
I think what gets lost here is every ethnic group, and if you generalize, has their own strengths, right? I mean, you did the great example about sports. I mean, and you know, there are certain groups like blacks that have a higher percentage of representation in professional sports.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. So why attack Asians in colleges if they're getting by merit getting in at higher rates than than other ethnic groups. So there's something really to be said about that. Why do we focus on the negative as a society instead of the positive of where we all have different gifts?
I'm just getting there. Why we have the elite in NASA? Because NASA takes only the elite.
That's right.
Takes the very top of the top. You know how the best tea, Chinese tea, is collected? It collects it the top of the tea mountain, all the trees, and the top branch, and the top leaf, and the top of the one or two pieces or leaf, two leaves, like this big.
Wow.
That's how best teas are made. That's how NASA are made. That's how
So
the
here we
international
are.
space stations are made.
A society that doesn't respect quality anymore, right? But what's the bigger problem here?
No.
The schools
If-
have lowered
all
their
right, that's
qualities.
exactly what I'm getting. Betty called me the other day when fixing the program. Exactly when she started talking about school
It's a joke.
enrollment.
But here's the good news about it, though.
Uh-huh.
What people don't understand is you think after 209 was passed, Asians just skyrocketed and everybody else got squashed.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like that. Actually, enrollment increased for minorities.
Yeah.
And it continues to increase based on their graduations of high school.
My point is that in a area such as education,
Right.
high-end education, you forget racial issue, the whole thing,
Yes.
totally. Whoever the best. Okay, Betty, why don't you finish what I want to say? You know me.
Yes, but that is true also in hiring and in promotions and in public contracting.
Yeah.
You want that performance. You want the graduation performance so that they can enter into the workforce. You want the best person when you go into the government entity to process your permit, to have the most qualified person processing it. And you want that person to be promoted.
And that's where I find it also ironic. And that's what's different from this bill than other bills is the employment section of it, where you actually see minorities that are not Asian. You see, especially in the African American community, you see a much higher employment of them in the public sector. So if we get rid of 209, are we trying to take away their jobs? Why are these legislators that happen to be also African American trying to take away their fellow members' jobs?
Exactly.
Yeah, what do you want to say?
No, I really want to kind of piggyback off Joy's point. It's very important to see, here is government overreaching once again, trying to fix something that ain't broken. Okay? And just because a few people are getting emotional that they didn't win or they didn't get in, that shouldn't be a cue to overhaul the entire society and cause more problems. I mean, a great example is these police riots. Or
But
these
they want
riots.
they
They're
want to
getting
be
rid of police
but they want to be
departments,
politically right. They want it to be politically
which
right.
is communism. Sorry.
It's never going to happen.
Yes.
Even in communism, you don't even have political correctness.
Yep.
Okay, 2 years ago, if you mentioned the word communism, though, I will not agree. Now I do. I've seen enough.
Yes,
I've seen enough. I've
it's
seen more.
ridiculous at this point.
I would, okay, forget that. We'll talk about communism another time. Okay, another time. Let me come back to Betty. She twice put her emphasis on the word objective,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So how about we make bills such as to take care of ACA, say all the handpick by perspective of what kind of objective you have, right?
Yes.
You want to do. You're talking about education. You're talking about promotion. You're talking about public contracting. You're talking about election. You're talking about sharing a pizza.
Yeah, I really love Betty's point because Betty really gets down to what's
Yeah.
really important, right? Every objective is different, and we need to start caring about, what quotas can do to our objectives to run the state, basically. So if we start losing track of what that objective is, we have,
Quota is a word of statistics,
yeah,
right?
You
Of
can't
the
force that.
statistics college, right? But right now you're talking about, if I quote her words, you're talking about you run a city, right? You want to contract your project.
yeah,
You want to run your school. Okay, you want to form a NASA. You want to shoot a rocket to the sky. All right? So you're talking about only whoever happens to be the best.
the best of the best, yep.
Be him or her black, okay.
Yeah.
Be him or her white, green, red,
And
whatever.
that's the thing. It's not against these minorities.
All right.
You want them to go to these colleges, but you want them to graduate. Because the
Yes.
point of getting into a college is not to just get into a college. It's to graduate and be able to build a career and feed your family after that.
Yes, good.
But under affirmative action, we see that these minorities, these non-Asian minorities, are not graduating.
They are playing games, all
And
right?
can I just say something? We as a society are so pathetic. In the last 30 years, high school isn't about the education.
All right, all right, all right.
It's about the prom. Okay? College is about getting in and not about the actual learning and developing a skill or trade.
All right. Okay.
I'm so
Let's
sick of
take
it.
a short moment out. When we come back for the last segment, though, we want to put together a conclusion. We want to call upon our audiences not just to watch, not just getting angry, not to feel the grievance. We want to work. The work is that actually you really want to vote no on something. You know why you vote no. All right, of course.
Everything we have to continue to work on it now.
My name is Paul James. I host the news every morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear friends, lovely brothers, sisters, my dear audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow with lots of valuable friends on the show. Talking about one thing that before we get blind, we really have to, sometimes I use something to wipe it. If you do not wear glasses, you better wipe your own way because you are sometimes so clouded you cannot see what's going on exactly. All right. Now, we're talking about the bill ACA-5, which is another version of the assembly version of a bill that has been defeated 3 years ago. At the time of defeat, we had a very good big show to celebrate. And at that celebration, I remember who was the one gave us a warning, saying, no, don't feel overexcited because it will be reshaped, will be beautified, will wear makeup, whatsoever come out again. Now, sure enough, we see ACA-5 instead of SBC-5. Okay? I would like to have Joy to give us a little instruction. Instead of getting angry, instead of getting frustrated, what do we want to do to protect ourselves?
Right.
Like,
and that's very important right
yeah.
now.
All right, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. I think between this year going with the Wuhan virus, with all the race riots going on right now, it's kind of never been more important in our lifetime. And it's kind of unfortunate that this bill is this year. And there's this urgency for us to want to get the news out there because this is the year that, if any year would pass, it would be this year. Because of all the racism against Asian Americans, because of all this promotion we need to do of other races, that suddenly ACA-5 is becoming a thing. And the way we need to stop it now is everybody needs to figure out who their representatives are, if not for ACA-5, for every other law out there. But especially right now, figure out who your representative is, call them, email them on this bill, tell them to vote no. Go online. There's also a change.org that we have set up. We have almost 70,000 signatures already. No on ACA-5. And then keep updated. Keep yourself informed of what's going on, because it's not over.
And that website also has information where you can write to your legislature.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter.
what is
if
the,
it doesn't matter if it is your own legislator. Write to as many legislators as you want.
What is the website address?
No on ACA5.com.
No on
ACA5.com.
ACA5.com. And my dear audiences, as you can see on the screen already, there's a line say no on ACA5.com. That's the website. And make sure that you, number one, understand that you have in your hand a yes and a no. Why yes, why no? You have to have a strong reason, right? You don't want your kids end up to be top of the class, such as my grandson. My grandson, for 6 years in a row, with all straight A's.
Wow, congratulations.
All straight A's, and he is only a junior in high school, right? So you want to make sure you don't want those guys be pushed down at the enrollment of Howard, at the enrollment of Berkeley, of whatsoever, because they are over the quota. You have only 12% of the population, and now your number going 12.5 or 13. No. Stay home. Stay, something like that. You want to prevent. Mark, there's one other thing I would like to remind you. Remember 2 years ago when we were with the proposition number 6? Remember you and I, we joked around with the wording? At the time of almost voting, they changed the version, the language explaining the bill, right? In other words, do you want your kid, okay, now, under the bill ACA, there's a line, there could be a line explaining what the bill is, right?
Yes.
So, do you agree your kids can go to high education such as by proportion of their
That sounds so pretty, right?
Well,
it sounds
yeah,
like
sounds so pretty.
Jack, right now, the ACA-5 has all sorts of whereas clauses
Yeah.
that are not true, that are lies.
Yeah, they have to know that's a lie.
Yes, and in order for this, if this bill passes, it will affect the Asians for generations to
Yes.
come. That's
Yep.
what is so dangerous about it. It will not get overturned
I learned-
for a minimum.
I learned my
Minimum of
lesson.
over 12
I learned
years.
my lesson. I learned my lesson the hard way, right? Proposition number 6 2 years ago, right? The bill was that do you need?
Road
do you
repairs.
support
you support road
gasoline tax
Yes.
to be increased, right? Okay, and then they
Unchanged.
lie to you, say your no
Jack, let me say
would
this.
mean
There's
that.
a
Go ahead.
shortage of critical thinking these days. There's a shortage of actually reading between the lines and seeing what the impact of certain public policy creates. And we have a laboratory. We have 49 other states that do things.
No.
People need to be observant.
I do understand. I'm not explaining why communism come out. I just tell you communism is risky. All right.
happening.
The risky part is that they say your no is to cut short of the infrastructure money. Parentheses, we intend to use the gas tax money for infrastructure. That's a lie. under the lie they fake of something, say
Yeah.
your no would mean to cut the infrastructure money.
Yeah.
On the ACA bill, they could play the same game.
Oh,
Your
totally.
no.
They will play the same game because that game was played by the Attorney General of the state of California, and he is with the super majority. That's the problem with when we vote by party and we do not vote by policy, by principle,
And it's
by
beyond that
character.
too. It's looking at the big picture, right? I mean, how could you give one party this much power in this state?
Of course, that's unfair. That's unfair. Now, under the ACA, they can say your no will stop your kid going to Howard. How about that? Right? They can say that. Oh yeah, no. I will say yes, and I will say yes.
And Jack-
lots of people at the very spot, on the spot, when voting on the spot, they change their attitude. They change their position on the spot because of that.
And let me just tell you, there's so much bad legislation this year. AB5. You know, we just had a Republican win in California 25th because so many independents supported, you know, normally would have supported the Democrat, but went to the Republican because of one bill, AB5, which says that everyone has to be classified as a W-2 employee. You know what that did to businesses? So many businesses fled California in the beginning of the year.
And people lost jobs.
Yeah.
Just thousands of people
So
in
what kind
Los
of
Angeles
society
alone
are we
lost
creating?
jobs.
Betty, it looks that we need more of this show.
Yes.
We need to do more over the summer. We want to repeat to a point that every time when they see the three faces together, they remember, oh my God, where's my no?
Yeah, but there's two big ACA-5, AB5, the fives.
The fives.
okay?
Remember the fives.
My failure from my own hard way of proposition number 6 remembers here
Yeah.
whole lifetime.
Yeah.
And I just came back from Arizona. Gas was at least $1 cheaper, so I filled up for $1.95.
And we feel happy with 290.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people still don't understand in this state why our gas is so expensive.
We are being spoiled in a slow way.
Yes.
In a slow water, and we're almost done boiling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yet we don't feel a thing. Okay, my dear friend, like I said, one show is never enough. Plus, we have other bills to all together, bundle together to give a no to. I would have to work out another schedule with them, see what will be our next show. However, you keep in mind, we don't cheat. We tell the truth. Me and my team all together, me and my friends, we don't cheat, we tell the truth, okay? And especially my friend Betty. Betty has been a fighter for what's been right all her beautiful life. I respect her a lot, sincerely from bottom of my heart. That doesn't mean I don't respect those, but you know, they are
Playing
young.
favorites, Jack.
They are young. They are halfway.
We like Betty too, though.
Thank you for watching, my lovely audience. We'll see you next time.